Hey there, man and woman of God. I just want to encourage you today out of Psalm chapter 19. The entire chapter we're going to look at, but we're going to start off with verse 14, the very last verse of this psalm, and it's a psalm from King David. It says this: "May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart." And we know David, one, as being someone who is a man after God's own heart. And in this psalm, it builds up to that verse. And it's really interesting how David starts out. He starts out Psalm 19 with a view, an image of creation. And it's interesting, as I read this portion here, I want you to think about David and what it may have been like for him as a shepherd boy, day and night shepherding a flock of sheep. In the daytime he would protect them and walk with them, and at nighttime he would also oversee them. And think about what David may have been doing with his time during the day in and day out of taking care of sheep and being with them. I kind of think of him at night, you know, playing a harp. I think of him at night maybe even shooting a sling around and you know, in preparation for a lion or a bear, and really not knowing that all that preparation was for the moment of killing a giant. And I also think of him at nighttime just looking up into the stars and thinking about and contemplating the things of God. And that's how he starts this psalm, Psalm 19. He says this: "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the works of his hand. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. The heavens he has pitched a tent for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat." Nothing is hidden from its heat. And so he's at nighttime, I picture him at nighttime looking up in the heavens and contemplating how everything that God has created brings glory, sings praises to his name. And he's really beginning to show the vastness of God. And then he simplifies things. I think of other scriptures where David says, "Who is man that you are mindful of us?" Meaning, out of all of this majesty, the vastness of the heavens and the earth, that you think particularly about us, that you walk particularly with us. And so, one, I have a challenge for you actually. I challenge you sometime this week to maybe read this psalm, especially the next couple of verses 7 through 14, and maybe spend some time with the Lord at night outside. And I want you to think about all just the majesty of God, the might of his hand, his power. And then I want you to meditate maybe on these verses here and to think about his care for you, his word for you, his direction for you. If he can create all of this, just think about how perfect his plans are and how powerful his hand is in your life. And so David switches it from how the heavens and the earth proclaim the name of God, and now he begins to simplify and to come down to humanity, and he says this: "The law of God is perfect, reviving the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are sure and altogether righteousness. It's amazing. He's saying that God's instruction for us, His words, His statutes, His precepts, His commands, that they are trustworthy, they are right, they are radiant, they give wisdom to those that are simple, and it endures forever. So he builds this up by looking at the power and the might and the majesty, how powerful the Lord is, and then he simplifies it and he brings it down, just this powerful God who speaks this word, His commands, His statutes, and how good they are for us and how they give wisdom. And really he's directing our heart. And now in verse 10 he says that they are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey, the honey from the comb. By them is your servant warned. In keeping them, there is great reward. So he's saying God is so powerful. His word is so good. And then he begins to look at the human condition. The human condition. And he says this, who can discern his errors? Forgive me my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins. May they not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of transgression. And so he's acknowledging the vastness, the power of God, the goodness of his direction. And he is saying that we, because he is all powerful, all loving, all good, that we should search out his word. And the challenge is our hidden faults, discerning ourselves is really what David is talking about. And he wants to be blameless before God. He doesn't want to have transgressions in his life, which leads us finally to his conclusion in his prayer in verse 14. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. So I challenge you this week to maybe take a night and do like David did, contemplate the wisdom, the power of God in creation, acknowledging that all of this is for his glory, even your own life, and to even direct your heart to be at all towards the Lord. And then contemplate that the reality that God has sent his word, he has sent his son, he speaks to us every day, and that we should have a hunger and a desire, a searching for the voice of God, that we would join in with the heavens and the earth to declare the glory of God as David did. God bless you. We love you, church. Have a great day.